white people celebrating the things that we had been celebrating amongst ourselves for years, or doing the line dances that we had been doing ourselves for years. Now they do it too. It's mainstream, right? So Juneteenth is now mainstream.
Tastemakers.
Class. We do more than make a living, we make a life. When everything is dark, we are the light. We are the tastemakers, aight. Let tomorrow tell the stories that we make tonight. We do more than make a living.
Today is Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth to all.
Yes.
You know, it was kind of crazy to me when, and this has just kind of been a slow process throughout American history, and of course we've in the last decade we've seen this a lot, where we as a culture, as a people, would shouts out to Lynn in the chat, would celebrate something, and then slowly we're starting to see mainstream, and let's even go say white people, celebrating the things that we had been celebrating amongst ourselves for years, or doing the line dances that we had been doing ourselves for years. Now they do it too. It's mainstream, right? So Juneteenth is now mainstream. Just how do you guys feel about that in the direction of it? Of course, to the point where sometimes people have off of work on Juneteenth now and different things of that nature. What y'all got?
I'll start. I'm not really a holiday person. I barely celebrate Christmas, so for me, it's. I acknowledge the day, but I don't like do celebrations and going out to barbecues and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Today I had to work because I just moved out here to El Paso, so I don't have no days where I could just take off. And with my company, they don't give off Juneteenth. They recognize it, but they don't give it off. So for me, what was the question? Is it a bad thing? You were saying? Is
it a good thing? It's a bad thing? Just seeing some of our cultural things becoming more mainstream. How do we? This is good, bad, weird. How do y'all? Yeah. What's your first reaction for it?
I just think I think it could be good. I think if we're understanding it, the truth behind it. Even like the folks that Goss brought on last week, I didn't know that not everybody was free on Juneteenth. I thought that was it.
Oh no.
You know what I mean?
No, as I understood it, I thought Juneteenth was the final. I want to say the message went out way before Juneteenth, but it started to be. We celebrate Juneteenth because that's when the people in Texas got the word, and they were the last to know, and they were like 6-8 months behind or something like that. Is that not? I thought that was the.
Yes,
I thought that was the story.
Yeah. That is the story.
Okay, so I even heard that there's also maybe the people in Galveston would have lasted here, but I still heard that there were still slaves in like Maryland, like a bunch of like the border states. You know what I mean? So, which obviously is going to be who's going to want to let their industry basically go right. So yeah. So my thought is like, do we actually, not us, but do people in I guess the broader context truly understand the history behind it, the day, or is it just another day, Cinco de Mayo, I'm about to get drunk, type of thing for people?
That's a good point. That's a very good point there, Bree.
Yeah, I think Black people have been celebrating Juneteenth for a long time. It's just been a federal holiday for 3 years now.
3 years,
that we actually got because of the social climate, all that stuff that was going on. Yeah, so it's like the government, it's like they were trying to take measures to show their support to our community. But it's like, it's great that we got Juneteenth as a recognized holiday, but that's not exactly what Black people were asking for at the time. It's like, we want to be able to live our lives in peace, just like everybody else in this country. So it's like you ask for all those things, but they're like, okay, but we'll go ahead and make this a federal holiday. And it's like, we'll take it, but for all of the companies, the corporations that have commercialized it, you kind of wonder, like, the meaning of the day kind of gets lost, like St. Patrick's Day. a lot of people don't really get it. And just like what you said about Cinco de Mayo, it's like another day off for people to just celebrate and drink and all that stuff too. So I just, the commercialization of it, I think kind of loses some people. Even though we're going to barbecue and grill on any day that we get off. But I think we've earned that right to celebrate. But it's just, kind of hoping that people actually get the meaning behind the day in the first place and all of the turmoil that led up to that point.
Right.
So, yeah. But hopefully things trend in the right direction. I would like to see that. But I think there's still more history lessons that have to be learned in this whole situation, because I still don't think people get it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was literally going to say something similar about just the commercialization of it all that is really annoying. And I think even for corporations, like, they oh, we're going to honor Juneteenth, but I'm like, are you really honoring it? Like, do you? Because, I'm not gonna talk about my job, but I feel like there are a lot of businesses that lean on Black folk to educate, and I'm like, educate yourself. Like that's the part that I get kind of like annoyed about. It's like, educate yourself, like, this is a national holiday, and you just like, you're leaning a lot on us to give you the education and breakdown. But it's a holiday, a national holiday like any other holiday. You know how we had to learn about all the other things that y'all got going on and the stuff that y'all forced upon us. Now y'all go and do the work. Go Google, do your Googles and find out what Juneteenth is about. Or, you know what I'm saying? Which, I mean, I don't mind educating, but sometimes it's just annoying because we've been doing that our whole lives. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not everybody. Let me not speak for everybody, but a lot of us have had to educate white folks on a lot of things, and so I think I'm proud of Juneteenth. I'm gonna say it speak for myself. Proud of it. We don't necessarily like barbecue or whatever, but if today, if I knew somebody that was gonna barbecue, I would have went. I would have celebrated. Or sometimes I'm just like, we ain't doing nothing. We're celebrating the fact that we ain't gotta do nothing.
Right.
Because the slaves was working their tail off for nothing. So we're doing nothing today, and we're going to celebrate by chilling.
Doing nothing.
It's a Sabbath.
Right.
It's a Sabbath for us. So, I think we have the freedom and ability to, and space to just do whatever we want to do and on this day. So, yeah.
Yeah. What everybody else said, right? At the end of the day, for it to be recognized is dope. For it to be a federal holiday is kind of dope. In 2021, when it was first announced and everything like that, we went to a joint in Hampton with a bunch of Christian folks and whatnot. And Hampton, of course, is where, like, we talk about, like, Hampton is where kind of everything came in and started, right? In Hampton, VA. And so even the ordinance for the freeing of slaves was given there. And then, of course, finally got all the way to Texas. So all that to say, I was extremely skeptical in 2021. But I went to a nice little Juneteenth outing with a bunch of white folk and a bunch of black folk and other races. And honestly, it was a beautiful little experience, you know what I mean? It was kind of dope, you know what I mean? People were there receptive to learn and vibe and worship and a little bit of everything, you know what I mean? It was kind of dope. So I don't put too much stock on it from a negativity standpoint. Commercialism is just what that's the American way. So it's the American way. America's going to commercialize absolutely anything you give them. So that's just kind of what's going to happen. I expected that to be the case. I just still, it still just kind of weirds me out like I said earlier, the many, many things that we had that were just us. You know what I mean? I'd been celebrating Juneteenth for years. I take off every Juneteenth for years. And, you know, I knew. Other black people in my office knew I was off. White folk ain't know I was taking off that day. And nobody explained nothing. We just, hey, it won't be here. It is what it is. And that's just kind of what it was. So it still, to me, is a little peculiar to see a lot of the things we did culturally just between us becoming very mainstream and out there. I mean, like I said, I even said it earlier with some of our line dances. Like, you see the Cupid Shuffle or whatever the case may be, and it's like, yo, or even at the Electric Slide. Like, there was a time where we were the only ones doing this. You know what I mean? And then you see it in a movie, you know, and you're like, oh, now everybody's doing this. Shout out to Bad Boys 4. Anyway, but yeah, it's just, you know. So anyway, that's kind of my thought process on it. I guess it's what we call progress.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. I guess that's what we call progress. So we'll keep at it. Keep trucking away until we get to reparations. Anyway, so let's see here. Like, subscribe, do all the things. It's the Tastemakers. Y'all know how we do every Wednesday night.
Tastemakers. Class. We do more than make a living. We make a life. When everything is dark, we are the light. We are the Tastemakers. Aight. Let tomorrow tell the stories that we make tonight. We do more than make a living. We make